The more you give, the more you bend, the more you try to be noble, the weaker you become in the eyes of those who watch you. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He saw through the masks, he studied kings, generals, and courtiers, and he learned a truth that polite society still denies. Kindness is not seen as a gift, it is seen as an opportunity. The world is full of wolves, and every time you act kindly, you are placing a piece of your flesh in their mouths. They don't thank you, they don't honor you, they consume you, and when nothing is left, they move to their next victim. Kindness does not protect you, kindness weakens you, kindness blinds you. Think of Caesar. He spared his enemies, and they stabbed him to death. Think of every leader who forgave betrayal, only to be betrayed again. Think of the colleague who exploits your generosity. Think of the partner who abuses your forgiveness. Your kindness is their opportunity. Your mercy is their advantage. Machiavelli warned, mercy without strength is suicide. The wolves are always watching. The moment you bend, they strike. Better to be feared than loved. Better to be respected than used. History remembers the ruthless, not the kind. Every saint is forgotten. Every conqueror is remembered. People don't admire endless kindness. They exploit it. Why? Because in the human mind, value is tied to cost. What you give too freely loses all weight. What you make scarce becomes priceless. When you forgive endlessly, you don't inspire loyalty. You inspire contempt. When you give without demand, you don't build gratitude. You build entitlement. When you refuse to enforce consequences, you don't look noble. You look weak. Humans are opportunistic animals. Show them a soft spot, and they will press it until it bursts. Show them a free road, and they will march an army down it. That's why Machiavelli wrote, "Men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful." Not because all humans are evil, but because all humans are driven by self-interest. Your unchecked kindness makes you a resource, not a respected equal. The parasite doesn't hate the host, the parasite depends on it. And the more you feed it, the more it grows. Your reputation is not decoration, it is your border. And like every border, it must be patrolled. Every exception you grant becomes a road through your country. Every indulgence you give becomes an open gate. Every time you let it slide, you are digging tunnels beneath your own walls. What happens to a nation with open borders and no guards? It is overrun. What happens to a person with no boundaries? They are devoured. If you must be generous, do it from a fortress, not from an open field. Your fortress is your standards. Your fortress is your boundaries. Your fortress is the silent line that says, cross me once, and you will pay. You were taught that kindness buys safety, that being nice earns protection. But reality is brutal. Safety is bought with consequences. When people expect your generosity, they begin to treat it as tribute, not as choice. The hand you extend becomes the hand they cuff. That is why you must set a price for your time, a price for your energy, a price for your loyalty. If you do not, others will set that price for you. And they will choose zero. Repeat this until it burns into your instincts. Consequence first, comfort second. Because without consequence, your comfort will be stolen. Respect outlasts love. Love fades in the first storm, but respect endures through winters. Machiavelli was clear. It is better to be feared than loved. Fear protects power. Love erodes it. The man who fears losing you will not risk disrespecting you. The man who expects your forgiveness will trespass again and again. Which of these men would you rather face? Which of these men would you rather be? History proves this. Alexander the Great was loved by his men, but he ruled them with an iron will. Napoleon inspired loyalty, but he demanded obedience. Bismarck built Germany not through affection, but through respect. The rulers who sought love were betrayed. The rulers who accepted fear died in their beds. Respect survives weather that love cannot. In the modern world, the battlefield has shifted, but the law remains. Consider the office where deadlines are suggestions and favors are taxes. The nice manager drowns in exceptions. The feared manager thrives on execution. Which team ships? Which team stalls? Which leader gets promoted? Respect follows outcomes, not intentions. Outcomes follow enforcement, not hope. Be feared for your boundaries, and your rare kindness will feel like grace. Mercy without teeth is an invitation. Even your finest virtues, offered without caution, attract parasites. The world is a marketplace. Every signal you broadcast is a price tag. Broadcast scarcity, command respect. Broadcast endless availability, command exploitation. Power is not loud, power is consistent. Boundaries held without apology shape reputations stronger than speeches. Say no without anger, enforce consequences without drama, and watch how quickly the chronic takers vanish. They are not allergic to kindness. They are addicted to weakness, and they will search for it elsewhere once yours dries up. You train people how to treat you by what you tolerate. In love, the same law holds. Affection without boundaries decays into boredom and contempt. The lover who cannot walk away has already lost the negotiation. Scarcity amplifies value. Autonomy amplifies attraction. Be generous by decision, not by default. Be warm by choice, not by compulsion. Mercy can be a strategy, but only when backed by a reputation for consequence. One sharp lesson prevents a decade of negotiations. Punish once, clearly and proportionately, and you will rarely need to punish again. Let a breach slide, and you purchase a lifetime subscription to future breaches. A single no builds more respect than a dozen easy yeses. Machiavelli did not preach cruelty. He preached clarity. He studied men as they are, not as priests or poets wished them to be. He measured loyalty by weathering, not by weather. Loyalty in storms, not smiles in summers. If the bond depends on comfort, it ends at the first cold wind. You owe no one the performance of weakness. You owe yourself the discipline of strength. The world understands strength in any language. It mistranslates kindness in every dialect. Speak power fluently, and then choose when to translate it into warmth. Kindness, used rarely and deliberately, becomes priceless. Kindness used constantly and compulsively becomes worthless. Reserve it, aim it, announce it with action, not with promises. Then watch it echo like thunder across the people who matter. You do not become cold, you become controlled. History is a ledger. It credits decisiveness and debits sentimentality. The rulers who sought to be loved died of daggers. The rulers who settled for being respected died of old age. You are not a medieval prince, but your life runs on the same math. Incentives over ideals, outcomes over optics. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Consequence first, comfort second. Power is not noise, power is rhythm. Consistency beats volume. A man who shouts his rules is ignored. A man who enforces them quietly is feared. Boundaries held without apology shape reputations stronger than any speech. A single calm no carries more weight than 100 desperate yeses. The chronic takers vanish when they meet resistance. They are not allergic to kindness. They are addicted to weakness. They will circle your defenses, searching for the softest spot, and when they find none, they move on. Weakness is a magnet. Strength is a repellent. Your life becomes simpler the moment your standards become non-negotiable. You train people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Remember this law. Engrave it into your decisions. If you accept lateness, you invite delay. If you accept disrespect, you invite contempt. If you accept betrayal, you invite another knife. What you allow once, you will allow forever. This law does not stop at work. It rules love. Affection without boundaries decays into boredom and contempt. The lover who cannot walk away has already lost the negotiation. Scarcity amplifies value. Autonomy amplifies attraction. To give yourself completely without restraint is not romance, it is surrender. Desire dies where weakness begins. Be generous by decision, not by default. Be warm by choice, not by compulsion. A rare act of kindness, backed by strength, becomes unforgettable. Endless kindness, offered compulsively, becomes invisible. Strategic mercy is memorable. Habitual mercy is forgettable. Mercy can be a strategy, but only when backed by consequence. One sharp lesson prevents a decade of wasted arguments. Punish once, clearly and proportionately, and you will rarely need to punish again. But let one breach slide, and you purchase a lifetime subscription to further breaches. Machiavelli did not glorify cruelty. He glorified clarity. He wrote of men as they are, not as poets imagine them. He saw loyalty proven not in calm weather, but in storms. He understood that love is cheap in sunshine and priceless in rain. He measured leaders not by words, but by survival. The rulers who sought love fell to daggers. The rulers who settled for respect died in their beds. And you are not a medieval prince, but your life obeys the same equations. Incentives over ideals, outcomes over optics, consequences over comfort. The modern world is no different from the court of Florence. It is simply dressed in glass and steel instead of stone and marble. Your office is your kingdom. Your team is your army. Your reputation is your fortress. Your borders are your boundaries. The same laws apply. Consider again the office. Deadlines are suggestions. Favors are taxes. The nice manager, praised for patience, is buried in chaos. The feared manager, criticized for firmness, delivers results. Which team survives? Which team wins promotion? Respect follows outcomes, not intentions. Outcomes follow enforcement, not hope. The same applies to friendship. The friend who constantly takes but never gives does not respect you. They exploit you. The one who borrows and never returns, who arrives late and leaves early, has studied your tolerance and found it weak. Stop excusing it. Stop hoping it will change. Enforce your boundaries once, and the pattern ends. Fail to enforce it, and the pattern becomes permanent. The same law rules family. The sibling who drains your time and money will do so until it costs them more than it costs you. Blood does not erase consequences. The same law rules love. The partner who disrespects you once will do so again if the cost is nothing. Make disrespect expensive. Make betrayal final. If you do not, betrayal becomes tradition. You were taught to seek love. You were taught to believe that being good guarantees safety. But Machiavelli burned that lie centuries ago. Respect is not optional. Respect is survival. The man who fears losing you will not risk disrespecting you. The man who expects your forgiveness will trespass again and again. Ask yourself, which man do you want in your life? Which man do you want to be? History is a ledger. It records decisiveness as credit and sentimentality as debt. The kings who wanted to be loved bled on palace floors. The kings who demanded respect died old and feared. The modern world has traded swords for salaries, thrones for offices, crowns for promotions, but the ledger remains. Consequence first, comfort second. Repeat it until it burns into your instincts. Power is not about anger. It is not about volume. Power is silent consistency. Say no without fury. Enforce consequences without drama. Watch the takers vanish. They will search elsewhere, addicted to weakness, allergic to strength. You do not become cold. You become controlled. Kindness used rarely and deliberately becomes priceless. Kindness used constantly and compulsively becomes worthless. Reserve it, aim it, announce it with action, not with promises. Let it thunder once, not drizzle daily. You owe no one the performance of weakness. You owe yourself the discipline of strength. The world understands strength in any language. It mistranslates kindness in every dialect. Speak power fluently, and then translate it into warmth when you choose. You cannot borrow respect with niceness. You earn it with cost. This is the Machiavellian truth. The wolves are always watching. They wait for you to bend. They wait for you to soften. They wait for you to mistake mercy for protection. The moment you do, they strike. Your kindness is their opportunity. Your mercy is their advantage. So set your borders, patrol them, mark the crossings, tax the travelers, close the gates on smugglers. If you must be generous, do it from a fortress, not from an open field. Build your reputation on consequence, not apology. Raise your standards, not your voice. Price your loyalty. Guard your energy. And remember, a single no builds more respect than a dozen easy yeses. A single boundary builds more safety than 100 apologies. A single act of decisive consequence builds more loyalty than endless tolerance. Consequence first, comfort second. Repeat it until it becomes instinct, because kindness without limits invites predators, but kindness with limits tames them, because love is fragile. Respect is iron, because history does not remember the loved, history remembers the feared.